Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're doing something, well, a little bit different. We are going to treat our planet exactly like a patient in the ER undergoing a critical medical checkup. We'll be looking at the ultimate health report for Earth based on the deeply concerning 2025 Planetary Health Check, and we're going to explore how the actual cure might just lie in the dirt right beneath our feet.
Okay, here's the chart for today's checkup. We're looking at leaving the safe operating space, the 7 breached planetary boundaries, the true cost of industrial agriculture, ground zero in India, how regeneration retrieves the boundaries, and finally, securing the future with blockchain. We're going to check the Earth's vital signs and then zoom right in to see how localized, tech-powered farming is the ultimate prescription.
All right, part 1, leaving the safe operating space. To really wrap our heads around the current crisis, we first have to look at the historical baseline that allowed human civilization to exist in the first place.
For the last 12,000 years, during the Holocene epoch, Earth was, frankly, incredibly stable. It was a perfectly balanced interglacial period. Temperatures barely moved from a super comfortable 14 degrees Celsius, give or take half a degree. And it was exactly that razor-thin predictability that let us stop hunting and gathering and actually start farming. But hit fast forward to the mid-20th century and the Great Acceleration. We triggered the Anthropocene. It's a hyper-industrial era where human activity has literally rewired the planet's fundamental chemical and biological systems.
Which brings us to Section 2, 7 breached planetary boundaries. Let's look at the 2025 Health Check, a framework developed by leading scientists to actually quantify our planet's stability.
The sheer scale of our overreach here is honestly staggering. As you can see, 7 out of the 9 critical life support systems have completely breached their safe operating limits. We're well past the safe 350 parts per million limit for climate change. We're sitting at a dangerous 423. Global forest cover has dropped from a safe 75% down to just 59. We've blown past the safe limits for freshwater extraction, synthetic chemicals, and biogeochemical flows like nitrogen and phosphorus. Literally only atmospheric aerosol and stratospheric ozone are still in the safe zone, and that last one is mostly thanks to the successful 1987 Montreal Protocol.
But maybe the most alarming new diagnosis from 2025 is ocean acidification. It is fundamentally wrecking marine chemistry. You'll often hear it called the evil twin of climate change because they share the exact same culprit, atmospheric carbon dioxide. The ocean basically acts as this giant sponge, absorbing up to half of all our CO2 emissions. But what happens when that carbon meets seawater? It forms carbonic acid. This creates a massive drop in what's called the aragonite saturation state, bringing the global mean down to 2.84. Now, why does that specific number matter to you and me? Well, aragonite is the essential building block for the shells of marine organisms, from huge reef-building corals to tiny sea snails called pteropods. Because the ocean is now 30 to 40% more acidic than it was in pre-industrial times, these creatures have to expend massive amounts of energy just to build their shells. It's a phenomenon known as osteoporosis of the sea. In really severe cases, the acidic water literally just dissolves their existing shells.
And that massive appetite, it extends right onto the land too, specifically through biosphere integrity. We are currently devouring 30% of the Earth's biological energy. The safe limit? Just 10%. This metric basically measures how much of the energy produced by photosynthesis humans harvest or destroy. By over-appropriating this energy by a factor of 3, we are literally starving the rest of the food chain. This is exactly why global wildlife populations have plummeted by an estimated 73% in just 50 years.
Moving on to Section 3, the cost of industrial agriculture. What is actually driving all of this systemic failure? We need to look at how our global food production is tipping the scales.
Intensive farming acts as this massive risk multiplier. It bleeds across almost all the boundaries we just talked about: freshwater change, land system change, biogeochemical flows. Agriculture alone sucks up nearly 70% of global freshwater withdrawals, which is severely depleting our aquifers. It's also the dominant force of landscape alteration. 3/4 of all agricultural land is dedicated just to livestock. In the Amazon, cattle ranching and soy for animal feed drove 80% of deforestation over 3 decades. Plus, our chronic overuse of synthetic nitrogen and phosphorus creates these vast hypoxic dead zones in our oceans, basically areas completely starved of oxygen where marine life just suffocates. To really grasp the impact of this, let's jump to Section 4, Ground Zero, Indian Agriculture. We're going to zoom in from the macro planetary level to a very micro, localized reality.
And that brings us to our soil, our soul.
It's an incredibly important initiative right now in Telangana, India, fighting back against massive agricultural degradation. Guided by this exact philosophy, the project echoes indigenous worldviews that highlight the absolutely indivisible connection between human well-being and ecological health. Because right now, India is on the absolute front line of the climate crisis, facing severe, drought-driven yield losses for foundational staples like wheat and rice due to escalating heat stress.
You can clearly see how this global crisis translates directly into chemically exhausted, basically inert dirt. Decades of heavy monocropping, deep mechanical plowing, and an absolute addiction to synthetic fertilizers have totally decimated soil health in India. Look at this. A staggering 77% of Indian soils exhibit low available nitrogen, right alongside acute micronutrient deficiencies in zinc and boron. The dirt has literally been stripped of its biological life.
But do not lose hope, because here is the absolute most important takeaway from this whole explainer, found right here in Section 5. Regeneration retrieves the boundaries. The scientific consensus is crystal clear. We can aggressively pull these boundaries back into the safe zone if we change how we farm.
By replacing synthetic dependency with regenerative practices, farmers can hit rewind on freshwater depletion, climate change, and nutrient runoff. Check out these interventions being championed by the Our Soil, Our Soul project. Zero-tillage basically stops the rapid release of carbon, turning farms into giant carbon sponges instead of polluters. Planting leguminous cover crops naturally fixes nitrogen right into the soil using specialized bacteria, totally eliminating the need for toxic synthetic urea. Agroforestry uses trees to stabilize microclimates, and organic composting rebuilds depleted humus, that rich, dark organic matter that drastically improves the soil's ability to hold on to water.
Finally, let's hit Section 6, securing the future with blockchain. How do we actually scale this localized cure across the globe? We have to verify ecological compliance using algorithmic trust.
Let's face it, the global agricultural supply chain is notoriously opaque. It is packed with mislabeled, low-grade chemicals that end up inadvertently destroying soil microbiota. Blockchains bring absolute transparency to stop this in its tracks. By tokenizing organic inputs on an immutable ledger, a farmer can just scan a QR code and instantly verify a fertilizer's exact manufacturing origin and organic certification. It creates an unhackable single source of truth. No counterfeits slipping through the cracks.
This is a total game changer for smallholder farmers. It turns their carbon-sequestering dirt into a verified, tradable digital asset. Here is how it actually plays out. Step 1. An oracle, like a verified soil lab test, captures the exact increase in soil carbon. Step 2. That data is permanently locked into the blockchain ledger. Step 3. A smart contract automatically triggers a financial payout to the farmer directly from global carbon markets. They get to keep full ownership of their agronomic data, and they are literally getting paid to heal the planet. Ultimately, saving the planet isn't going to happen with some magic single global treaty. It's going to happen through millions of tiny, localized, verified actions exactly like this. Earth's diagnosis is definitely severe, but the cure is quite literally growing from the ground up. So, as you look at the food on your own plate today, you really have to ask yourself, are your local food choices contributing to the disease, or are they funding the cure? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you inspired to dig just a little bit deeper into where your food actually comes from.